the Global Terrorism Database, an open-source platform that provides data for all terrorist attacks since 1970. I then downloaded that entire database to calculate the total number of fatalities. To make this comparative analysis, I then referred to the most accurate and comprehensive study on the number of fatalities caused by the War on Terror, which was conducted by the Washington-based organization Physicians for Social Responsibility. This study is also noteworthy for examining previous studies on the subject and revealing their limitations and flaws. Now, the PSR report only documents the actions of the United States and its allies during the first 10 years of the War on Terror, and focuses strictly on 3 countries: Afghanistan, Iraq, and Pakistan. However, the GDT includes all non-state terrorists from all ideologies and from all regions. Interestingly enough, both sources include both combatant and non-combatant fatalities. So, what were the results? According to the GDT's conservative estimates, roughly 380,000 people have been killed by terrorism since 1970. And the PSR report? At least 1.3 million people have been killed, directly or indirectly, by the United States and its allies from 2001 to 2012. Let's put these numbers in perspective, shall we? If we only look at the period between 2001 and 2012, based on the GDT, the number of fatalities from terrorism comes out to around 100,000 people. And I'm including non-Muslim perpetrators from other regions around the world. Now, to be fair, we will take this number and deduct it from the total number of fatalities estimated by the PSR report, assuming these to be part of the indirect casualties of the War on Terror. Even with all that considered, this means that the United States and its allies have been responsible for up to 92% of all fatalities over a period of 10 years. However, to be even more gracious, let's increase the yearly range of the GDT data from 2001 to 2016. At the same time, I will exclude any perceived estimates by the PSR for those added years. So from 2001 to 2016, the GDT estimates that the total number of fatalities from terrorism was around 234,000. Factoring that into the overall figure, the United States and its allies would still be responsible for up to 82% of all fatalities during this period. And even if we were to include all fatalities from terrorism from the full yearly range of 1970 to 2016, this is what we would get. In other words, after nearly half a century, terrorists from all ideological backgrounds have only killed a third of the amount of what the United States and its allies have for just over a decade. And you may respond, this doesn't sound right. It should be much higher than that. Okay then, let's entertain that idea by looking at Sargon statistics for 2015 again. In 2015, the GDT estimated that around 30,000 people were killed by terrorism. This is a slight decrease from the previous year, 2014, which was considered the worst in the GDT's history. So how about we assume, for the sake of argument, that every single year since 2001 was the same as 2015. Despite how ridiculous this assumption is, let's assume that every year since 2001 resulted in 30,000 deaths from terrorism. That would total to about 450,000 deaths. Even if we were to factor that into the equation, the United States and its allies would still be responsible for 65% of all fatalities during this period. You may then retort, but that wasn't terrorism. Those people were collateral damage. Yes, I've heard that excuse quite a lot over the years, and it has really never struck me as a good one. I mean, imagine if Osama bin Laden used that same reasoning after orchestrating the 9/11 attacks. While it is certainly a moral atrocity to murder thousands of people intentionally, knowing that your actions will unintentionally lead to the deaths of millions of innocent people, and doing it regardless, strikes me as being slightly more sadistic. As Noam Chomsky aptly points out in a response to a newspaper article, a little more subtle perhaps is her, Samantha Power's, observation that if you continue to believe as I do that there is a moral difference between setting out to destroy as many civilians as possible and killing civilians unintentionally and reluctantly in pursuit of a military objective, evidently a crucial case is omitted, which is far more depraved than massacring civilians intentionally, namely, knowing that you are massacring them but not doing so intentionally because you don't regard them as worthy of concern. That is, you don't even care enough about them to intend to kill them. Thus, when I walk down the street, if I stop to think about it, I know I'll probably kill lots of ants, but I don't intend to kill them because in my mind, they do not even rise to the level where it matters.